In module 1 there is a lot of use of laws of logic and truth tables. So these are the main things which you need to remember. For using the truth tables in the questions, you need to know these values. Okay, let's see one by one what it is. This is P and Q inputs and all the combinations are here. This is not P, P and Q. This is conditional. This is read as if P then Q. So in that case this will be false only when P is true and Q is false. Rest of the cases it will be true. This is biconditional, means both should be same, then only it will be true. This is the opposite of this, both should be different, then only it will be true. This is known as exclusive OR gate, and this is OR gate. Okay, this is the OR of these both. Now let's see the question, and in under this topic the question will be of this type. You will be given with the equation and you have to form the truth table for it. Okay, first see the variables you have P, Q and R. Okay, so make the columns of P, Q and R, and you have this P or Q, right? Make a column for that, and this whole column will be made here. Now let's fill these values. After filling these values you have to fill this value. Okay, OR gate, so you have to take the OR of P or Q. So this will be 0 and this will be 0, like that you have to fill this. After filling this, what you have to do, you have to take this whole column and take this column and find the AND of it. Okay, so 0 and 0 is 0, 1 0 is 0, like that fill the whole. After you're done, you have completed the first question. Then for the next question you can just make the Q and R here only. Okay, you need not make another truth table for P, Q and R. You can just make it here only. Okay, so what we have here, Q and R. So find the values of Q and R and put here, then write P or Q and R. So after, consider Q and R or P, then write it here. Similarly you have to do for all the questions. Okay, now let's see for this conditional how to do this. Okay, so this is the question, P and Q conditional not R. Now see, P and Q is here and not R is here. How you will find the conditional? Remember, for conditional the conditional's final value will be false only when this is true and this is false. Only in that case the final value will be false. Okay, rest all cases it will be true. Now let's see the first case, 0 and 1. 0 and 1 means it's not the same here, so it is true only. Okay, so we'll write here as true. 1. What's the next case? 0 and 0, that's also true, so we'll write here. Then this is also true. Which is false here? Actually this is false, only this is false. See, in this case only you will write 0, rest all cases you will write 1 here. Okay, like this, last case is only false. Okay, rest of the cases are true. Then this is the same thing, you will find the conditional again and find the AND gate. Okay, that's the same thing. Sometimes we are asked to find the truth values without using the truth table. In that case we will be going with the laws of logic. Here are some important laws of logic, and these are not the complete set of list, but these are the most repeated ones. See, the first one is law of double negation. If this is not of not P is logically equivalent to P. Okay, idempotent law, if you use an OR and AND gate you will get the answer P here. And absorption law, if you have the equation in this form the answer is P. And De Morgan's law is very important. See here, remember, if you are using a not here and inside this it is OR, so if you take not inside, what it will be, not P and not Q, this OR will change to AND. In another case, if it is AND here, if you take not as not inside, you will get OR here. Okay, that's De Morgan's law. And this is another law for a conditional. See, if you take not inside the conditional you will get P and not Q. Similarly, if there is no not here and if you want to write in terms of OR gate, what you will write, not P or Q. Okay, remember this, it's very important. Coming to the questions, the question will be of this type: simplify the compound proposition using laws of logic. Okay, this is the question given, P or Q and not P and Q. Now what we have to do, we have to simplify this. First start from the bigger bracket here. See here, when you open this bracket, means if you take this not inside this whole bracket, what you will get, not of not P or not Q according to De Morgan's law, right? Then law of double negation, this not will get cancelled and we will write it as P, and then this will be same here. And then what you have to do, see this condition and this condition, in this you can take P common, right? Like distributive law. See here, A into B plus A into B dash. If you take A as common, what you will get, A into B plus B dash. Similarly, you will take P as common here and you will get here P or Q and Q dash. Now in Q and Q dash, it's another law which is inverse law. See, if you take the value of Q as 1, you will get this as 0. If you take the value of q as 0, this will be 1. So in any case, either of this will be 0. So in AND gate, if either of this is 0, the answer is 0 only. So in all cases, the answer will be 0. So we will write here f means false. Then you have p or false. False means 0. Now see, in OR gate, if you have 0 or something, the final answer will be p only. Why? It will depend on the value of p, the final answer. Okay, so that's identity law. So in this way you have to simplify. Let's see another question. The question will be like this type: prove the following logical equivalence without using truth table. Okay, so you'll use the laws of logic here, and this is the conditional here. For the conditional, I have written this basic law here for your reference. P conditional q is logically equivalent to not p or q. Now see, you have to start from here, LHS, open this bracket and write it in the form of this. Okay, you will get this. Then take this whole thing, as a conditional. Suppose this is suppose that this is p conditional x here. Okay, so if this whole is taken as x, then what is p conditional x? That is not p or x, right? Yeah, that's written in this form, not p or x. Now you can use the associative law here, and you can take these two as common. When you take these two common, you will get here r as separate, and then you take this not as common here. According to De Morgan's law, if you take not as common, you will get and here instead of or. Then this will be same here. Then applying the reverse law of conditional, see, it is of this form. See this one, if you take this as single entity, that is of the form of this. So this can be written like this, right, in this form. So it will be p, if this is taken as whole as p, so p conditional q, it's written in this form. Okay, moving on to the second question, which is similar to this. In this question you have another bracket within it. So first we will simplify this one. Okay, see, take not common here. For this particular thing, take not common, you will end up with this. Okay, then we will be substituting this in place of this. Okay, like this. Now after that, this is or here. By distributive law, you can make use of this, multiply this with this as well as with this. Okay, so what you will have, p or q into means or this one, p or q or not p or q. Okay, and if you multiply this with this one, what you will have, and p or q or r. Okay, then see this, it is or gate here, and if you take 1 here, it is 0, means it is not of this, right, this whole thing. So in either case you will get 1 anywhere. So it's always a true value here, and this is same here. So true value and this. So according to identity law, what you can write, if it is true and this, the final answer will just depend on this, right? If it is false, the and will be false. If it is true, the and will be true. So the final answer is p or q or r. If you have got an idea till now how to solve the laws of logic question, you can skip this part, or else if you want, you can watch. See, this is the question given, and in this question you have a conditional here. So first change the conditional into the not and or type, okay, according to that equation, and after that use double negation and De Morgan's law here, and you will end up with this. This is same as here, and see, this is same as here, and you take this p or p and q as common. Then this is of the form of absorption law, and when you simplify and write, you will get this final answer. If they ask you to write the dual of the following, what it's just one basic step you have to remember. Write the same things, everything same, just one thing you need to change is this and to or. Wherever or is there, change to and. Okay, or to and to or, both changes, and not will be same. Just write those in that form, and this will be the dual of this. Okay, the question is to express the following using NAND only. What is a NAND? NAND means not of and. Okay, so we can write not p as not of p and p, because p and p is equivalent to p. So we can write not of p and p. Now observe this. This is not of and, right? So we can write as NAND. NAND is represented by up arrow. Similarly, for this also we will write like this. First we will take double negation and then apply De Morgan's law and take this as p and q. Okay, p and q. If you take this as p and q, what you will end up with? If you take this as p and q, this whole term as p, this whole term as q, what it is? Not of p and q, that is NAND, right? So you can write P NAND Q, but P instead of P we have not P, so we'll write not P NAND not Q, and then not P and not Q can individually be written as P NAND P. By the first equation here, see, not P can be written like this, right? So here you can substitute this same, and for Q also. This is the final answer. The final answer should have only NAND gates. Similarly for AND also here you can do, and for conditional you have to use that equation, conditional into AND and NOT gate, then you have to write it in this form. What we just solved is for NAND gate, and if they ask for NOR gate you have to do the same thing, just some differences. Before you took AND here, right? Now if it's NOR gate, so you'll take P as P or P, and then you will use a NOT here, it's not here, so NOR is represented by down arrow. Similarly you can do for all others as well. Okay, this conditional is a bit different. In this you have to take double negation first. Okay, first write the conditional equation in this form, and then take the double negation. Now see, you can take this as one term, take and this as one term, so this is not of something or something, so that can be taken as NOR, right? Then again you have to consider this as one term, and this will be not P. What is not P? P NOR P, so you can write this as P NOR P. Okay, then separately do this substitution as well. Moving on, we have some theoretical concepts, which is converse, inverse and contrapositive. Now this can be used in laws of logic, and it's used a lot of times. So let's see what it is. See, this is the conditional given, P conditional Q. What's the converse? It's Q conditional P. Similarly the inverse is not P conditional not Q, and contrapositive is not Q conditional not P. Remember these three, and these two are the conclusions drawn from this. Conditional and contrapositive is equivalent, logically equivalent. Converse and inverse is logically equivalent. Okay, remember this as converse, inverse, both are logically equivalent, and similarly conditional and contrapositive are logically equivalent. Okay, this will be used in proving statements. Okay, now let's see what are the problems that can be asked under this converse. Okay, so this is the question: if Kabir wears a brown pant and then he will wear a white shirt. Okay, so divide this into two sentences, P and Q. Kabir wears a brown pant, Kabir wears a white shirt. What's the converse? See, it's of the form P conditional Q, right? So converse is Q conditional P, so write it in that form. If Kabir wears a white shirt, then he wears a brown pant. That's the converse. Similarly for inverse, you will have not P. What is not P? Kabir wears a brown pant is P. So Kabir does not wear a brown pant is not P. Similarly find not Q also and write it in this form. Similarly for contrapositive also. The next topic is logical implication. In this what you have to keep in mind is, if P is true, then Q is true for all P. Okay, now let's see an example. See here, the question will be of this type. You have to prove that this whole thing logically implies this thing. So you will make the truth table and write the terms for truth values for this as well as this. Okay, then you have to consider this one, wherever 1 is occurring at that time, if this also has 1, then it logically implies. So 1 occurs only one time, and in that instance this also has 1, so it logically implies not P. Similarly in the second question also it's the same thing. You have to make the truth table, and in the truth table take this column, find where all 1 is occurring. At those instances, if this also has 1, then it logically implies. Rest of the cases it doesn't matter. See, for example, this is 0 here, but 1 is here. It doesn't matter when it's 0. Only thing that matters is whenever 1 is here, at that time this also should have 1. Okay, then it logically implies the statement. Moving on, we have rules of inference. Okay, these are some rules used to prove statements. So we will come back to this. First we will see an example. See, the problem is of this type. Okay, if interest rate falls, then stock market will rise. Take this as two statements. Interest rate falls as P, stock market will rise as Q. Then the stock market will not rise, therefore interest rate will not fall. Now how can you write this argument? The given argument is in this form, right? If interest rate falls, then stock market will rise. So if P then Q, that's a conditional. This is given. Also it's given that the stock market will not rise. So Q is stock market will rise. So not Q will be stock market will not rise. So these two have been given. And what's the conclusion? Therefore interest rate will not fall. So interest rate will not fall is not P. So we will write the statement here as not P. Then what we need to do? We need to look up the rules of inference and see if this condition is true or not. Okay. See, by modest tolerance rule, this is a valid argument. So what is modest tolerance rule? See here. In modest tolerance rule, you will have these things. See here, it is P conditional Q and not Q. Okay, that is logically equivalent to not P in this form. Okay, so that's the same thing here. By modest tolerance rule, this is a valid argument. Let's see one more question. If Ravi goes out with friends, that's taken as statement P. He will not study, will that's taken as Q. If Ravi does not study, his father will become angry. That can be taken as R. You got an idea, right, how to form the sentences. After you have taken these three, what it is given? The given argument is, if Ravi goes out with friends, he will not study. That is P conditional Q. See, if Ravi if Ravi goes out with friends, he does not study. So that's the first statement. Second is, if Ravi does not study, his father will get angry. That's the second statement which is given in the question. Okay. Then his father will become angry. Then the question, the third statement is, his father is not angry. That is not R. Okay, and the conclusion given is, Ravi has not gone out with his friends. So that is not P. See, this is not P, which is Ravi has not gone out with his friends. So then we will try to simplify it. According to rule of syllogism, let's see what is rule of syllogism. See here, in rule of syllogism you have this P conditional Q and Q conditional R. You can directly write P conditional R. That's the rule of syllogism. So in this what you have, P conditional Q and Q conditional R, that you can directly write as P conditional R. Okay, that you can directly write as P conditional R. Then what is left here? Not R. Then by modest tolerance rule you can say that it is a valid argument. Okay, if P conditional R is there and not R is there, then the inference is not P. It is true according to modest tolerance. So we just needed that not P only. See, Ravi has not gone out with his friends, which is not P. Another way in which the question can be asked is in this form. There will be no statement, but they will be giving you directly this. Okay, so how you will approach this question? Firstly, write the two sentences which are given on the top as AND gate. Okay, P conditional R and Q conditional R. Then what you have to do? Apply that formula, conditional to not and or, for both of this. After that, you can use the associative law to bring R here. Okay, so after doing that, take R as common according to commutative law and distributive law. Then after taking R as common, take this not also common from here, which is De Morgan's law. Then by commutative law, change this order here, R bring here and P, not P or Q bring here. Then apply that reverse conditional equation, which is not of something, or R can be written as P or Q conditional R. Okay, and this is what we needed at last here. Okay, and let's see one more question. This is a similar question, P conditional Q and R conditional S. Okay, now see, you can write this in the form of AND gates. Okay, whatever is in the top, you will write it in the form of AND gates. See, R conditional S is written here, but this is converted to conditional. Why we have converted this? So that we can take this here and use this equation to simplify it as P conditional S. See, P conditional Q and Q conditional S. By rule of syllogism, you can write it directly, right? So you have to observe what you can make changes and bring R conditional S here, and then what is done here? See, after bringing this here, what you have to do? I had told you, right, conditional and contrapositive are logically equivalent. So R conditional S can be written as not S conditional not R. Now see why we did this, because we will get the form of this. We can apply the rule of syllogism here. When we apply that, we will get P conditional not R, and this is the, by using the rule of conditional, we can write it further in this form. Okay, and we can take the not outside, De Morgan's law, and we will end up with this. Now check this, if it is the same thing which we had to prove. Yes, it is the same thing, so the given argument is valid. Next topic is quantifiers. Let's see what is quantifiers. Okay, first see what's the type of the question which can come in quantifiers. See, you will be given many statements here. Okay, all of these statements and we will be asked to find at least one integer is even, and this type of questions. Okay, observe here carefully what we have to do. At least one integer is even we have to find. Okay, so x is even is a q of x. Okay, now how we will write that? Let's see a solution and see why it is of such. It's given like this: for some x comma q of x. Now what does this mean? Now let's go to the theoretical part. Now see, whenever you have the words like for all, for every, for any, those are called universal quantifiers. For some there exists at least one. See, at least one is occurring here, right? That is a existential quantifier, and for both of these you have the symbols. For universal it is this symbol, and existential it is this symbol. Okay, that's why we had used this symbol here, because they had asked at least one integer is even. Okay, see, they had asked here at least one integer is even. So for at least you will use this sign, and one integer is even is given by which sentence? Q of x, right? X is even, so we wrote there as comma q of x. Okay, then the second question, there exists, this is a existential quantifier. See here, for some there exists at least one, these are all existential quantifiers, so we will use this symbol now. So in the answer we will write this symbol here, and what's the next statement given? There exists a positive integer that is even. So two sentences are and in it, means mixed in it. See here, there exists a positive integer. Which of this sentence says that x is a positive integer? This one, p of x, right? X is greater than 0, and that is even, means it's q of x. It is both positive integer as well as even, so it's the AND gate of both of this. Okay, so we'll write it in that way: for some x, p of x and q of x. Now let's see for this symbol, universal quantifier, how it works. For the fourth question, see, observe the fourth question here: every integer is either even or odd. Every, this word occurred, this word occurred means it's a universal quantifier. So this symbol you will write here, this symbol you will use here, and then what's the thing given here? Every integer is either even or odd. Okay, observe here, is either even or odd. Now we have been given for even, we are not provided with a sentence that x is odd. So what we can do, we can use not here. So if we use not here, it will be x is not even, which means x is odd. So we will use both of that. And observe here, we are using exclusive OR gate, because in exclusive OR gate only either is true, means either q of x can be true or not q of x can be true. Both can't be true, because any number can't both be even as well as odd. It will be either even or odd, right? It can't be both even and odd. We can use OR gate also here, but if you use OR gate, you can have 1 and 1 also as valid. If both are 1 means, what is the thing? If both are 1 means it's even as well as odd. That's not possible. So we are using exclusive OR gate here. So similarly for the other questions also you will write the same, and conditional is also used here, because if the question is of this form, if the question is of the form if and then you will use the conditional here. Okay. The question given here is, all mathematics professors have studied calculus. Ramanujan is a mathematics professor, and the conclusion is Ramanujan has studied calculus. Now let's break it into two sentences. P of x as x is a mathematics professor, and q of x is x studies calculus. Now what's the question given? All mathematics professors have studied calculus. So the argument reads as P of x conditional q of x, means if x is a mathematics professor, x has studied calculus. That's the first sentence. Now the second sentence is P of a. A means it's not a general term, it's talking about a specific person. Okay, means Ramanujan. Ramanujan is a mathematics professor, so that can be told as P of a. If you put a here, a is a mathematics professor. Okay, so that's a specific sentence here. Now what's the conclusion? Ramanujan has studied calculus, that means it's q of a, right? A has studied calculus means Ramanujan has studied calculus, so you will have the conclusion here, q of a. Now we will test using the rules of inference whether this argument is valid or not. By Modus-Pon's rules, the argument is valid. Okay, and one more question is, The question given here is of three statements: p of x, q of x, and r of x. What we have to do, we have to find the truth or the falsity of the statements, and when the universe only contains the integers 2 and 5. So only the values which x can take in this question is 2 or 5. Okay. Now we have to solve these four statements. This we have to solve these four questions. Now the first question is, for all x, p of x conditional not r of x. Okay. The universal statement is this: 2 and 5. So we have to put the values of 2 and 5 in x. Okay, and we have to see what answer we get. Okay, before that let's find out the values of p of x and q of x. See, when we solve this equation, we get the values of x as 2 and 5 here, and here we get the values of x as 3 and minus 1. That's the roots of the question, and r of x can take the values which are all negative. Okay, x is less than 0. Now coming to the question, the first question given is, for all x, p of x conditional not r of x. Okay, for your reference I have made this conditional truth table. Now see what you have to do. For each of this statement, it's given for all x, right? So for every x which belongs to you, you have to test if it is true or not. How you will do that? First put p of 5 here. Okay, see, these two are the x values which we have to test. First put 5 here and test. What is p of 5? When you put it in this equation, if you put 5 here, you will get as 0. So this is true, p of x is true. And then what is r of 5? R of 5 means, if you put 5 here, is 5 less than 0? No. So r of x is false, r of 5 is false. So r of 5 is false, but we have not r of 5, which means this is true, this whole statement is true. So this is true, conditional true. What is true, conditional true? 1 1, this is 1, p conditional q. If both are true, this value is true. So this is valid here. Now similarly we will test for 2 here. When we put here 2 also, we will get true, conditional true. So in both the cases this argument is valid. So this is true for all x belongs to u. Okay, for both the values this statement is true. Similarly the next question is this. Okay, I've written in the next page. See here. Okay, for all x, q of x conditional r of x. Okay, now for in that case we have to test the qx values for 2 and 5 both. Now the q of x equation you got as 3 and minus 1, right? If you put 2 there, you won't get the equation correct. See here in this problem, what q of x you have, see here x. If you put here 2, okay, if you put here 2, you will not get as 0. So this is false for 2, q of x is not 0. So this is false here. So that's what you have written here, q of 2 is false. Also r of 2 is false, because 2 is a positive integer, it is greater than 0, right? So this is false to false. Now you could tell me that it is false statement only, but no, according to this truth table conditional, truth table of the conditional, you have this 0 and 0 value as true. Remember I told you this will only be false when p is true and q is false. For this case only it will be false, rest all cases it is true. Even if it is false, conditional false, the it's a valid statement according to this conditional table. Okay, now in next case put 5 here, q of 5 is also false. If you put it in that equation, also r of 5 is also false. So false, conditional false is again true here. So both of these conditions are true, so it's a valid argument. In the third question you have for sum x. So let's see what is for sum. In for sum you will have for sum x you will have q of x and conditional r of x. This is the question which is given. Now put the value of 2 in both of this and see. In for sum x, what you have to do, you have to just prove one case as true. Okay, so either you can put 2 or 5. If any of the cases passes, if any of the case is true, then the argument is valid. For all x, see, in this case you have to test for all values of x, 2 and 5 both. But in this case, if it is for some x, you have to just test for any one value. If it is true, then the argument is valid. Okay, if you put 2 here, this is true, so the argument is valid here. and for some x, this is the next question. Now see, in this question if you put here 5, okay, p of 5 is true, because in that equation if you put 5 you will get 0. Okay, which equation? This one. In this equation if you put 5 here you will get a 0. So for 5 it is true, also for 2 if you put it is true. So for both the cases it is true here. See, p of 5 is true, conditional r of 5, but r of 5 is not true because 5 is greater than 0. So it is true, conditional, false. Now see the truth table. It is true, conditional, false. That means one conditional 0. In the truth table, one conditional 0 will give us 0. That means it's a false statement. See, it's a false statement. Now what you can do, you can check for the next value, which is 2. In 2 also you will get the same thing, true, conditional, false. So it's also a false statement. See, you have checked for all those elements in the universe, which is 2 and 5, but you didn't get any case in which it is true. So for some x you should have got at least one case which was true, then the argument would have been valid. Moving on, we have proofs of theorems. That means some proofs are given in different ways. We will prove some statements. Let's start by an example here. See, we have been asked to give a direct proof, indirect proof and proof by contradiction for the following statement. This is the statement given. If n is an odd integer, then n plus 9 is an even integer. We have to prove this by using 3 methods: direct, indirect and contradiction. Now let's see the first method. In first method, what you are supposed to do, see, if n is odd, that's the question which is given here. See, if n is an odd integer, this can be taken as p, then n plus 9 is an even integer, this can be taken as q. First we will assume that p conditional q is true. Okay, this we have to prove, sorry, not assume, we have to prove that p conditional q is true. For that, what we will do, we will begin by considering p as true and proving that q is true. First we will consider p as true, then we will prove that q is true as well. Now for that, what we will do, consider p as true. What is p? If n is an odd integer, we will consider it as true. So if n is an odd integer, it can be represented in the form of 2k plus 1. Now if n is true, what is n plus 9? We have to prove that it is also odd. So substituting the value of n here, we will get 2k plus 1 plus 9, which is 2k plus 10. In that we can take 2 common and consider this whole term as k dash. Okay, so it is 2k dash, that means it's an even integer. So n plus 9 is even, and that's what we had to prove, that n plus 9 is an even integer. That's a direct proof. In indirect proof you will do the same thing, but you will use contrapositive. Okay, that's the rule. See, in indirect proof you will use contrapositive. Remember, I had told you conditional and contrapositive are logically equivalent. So to prove this, we will prove the contrapositive. Okay, see here, we will take these two as p and q, and then the statement is p conditional q. What's the contrapositive? If n plus 9 is odd, n plus 9 is odd, not q, n plus 9 is odd, then n is even. So we will consider n plus 9 as odd. Okay, so not q, which is not q. If it is true, n plus 9 is odd. Okay, then n plus 9 can be represented as 2k plus 1, right? This can be represented as 2k plus 1 because it is odd. Now then if n plus 9 is 2k plus 1, then n will be, then n is 2k minus 8 by shifting this 9 here. Okay, if it is 2k minus 8, you can take 2 as common and you will be left with k minus 4, which you can take as k dash. Now n is even because it is of the form 2k dash. Okay, so n is even, that means not p is true. What was not p? See, p is, n is odd, so not p will be n is even, and here we got that not p is true. So this proves the contrapositive. Now comes the proof by contradiction. See here, assume that p conditional q is false. That means assume that this statement is false, p conditional q, this is false. That's the first step. Okay, that means p is true and q is false. See, remember, in conditional, if p conditional q is false, only one case is possible. When p is true and q is false, then only p conditional q is false. So p is true and q is false we got. Then what we will do, prove that p is false. What we considered, p is true, q is false. Now what we have to prove, P is false. If we prove that P is false, that means it's a contradiction, right? We have assumed that it is true, but if we can prove that it is false, that means there is a contradiction. Now let us see by a question. See here, we will take P as this, n is odd and Q as n is even. Remember what we have to take as true? We will take that P conditional Q is false, that means P as true and Q is false. Now if Q is false, what is Q? N plus 9 is even, n plus 9 is not even, it is odd. If we take as it is odd, then what we will get, n plus 9 can be represented as 2k plus 1, n will be 2k minus 8 which is even. So n is even we got here. See, so but we had assumed that n is odd. See here, we had assumed that n is odd, right? P is true, which means n is odd, but we got here as n is even, so it's a contradiction. While we consider this, there arises a contradiction, so this should be wrong. So if this is wrong, that means P conditional Q is true. This is a very easy one, proof by exhaustion. In that you will have to prove the statement for every x belonging to a particular set. Okay, suppose the question is prove that every even integer, see between 2 and 26 the even integers are 2, 4, 6, 8 like that, okay, till 26. Now you have to prove that it can be written as a sum of at most 3 perfect squares. You can consider P of x as x is a sum of at most 3 perfect squares. Now what we have to prove, the statement is true. So we will prove it for all the numbers till 26. Okay, we will write 2 as 1 square plus 1 square. For every even integer we will write it as not exceeding 3 numbers, okay, at most 3, right? So we can write it as sum of at most 3 perfect squares for each number till 26, and that's the proof by exhaustion. Okay. Now proof by existence is another way. In this way what you will do, prove that there exists a real number. You have to just give one real number which satisfies this equation. If you are able to give one equation, one real number, that means it is proved by existence. Okay, at least one should exist. So for x is equal to 2, it satisfies the equation, so it is proved by existence. Disprove by contradiction is the opposite of proof by contradiction. Okay, we will assume that P and Q both are true. If P and Q both are true, that means P conditional Q is also true, right? 1 and 1. So while we assume this, what we have to do, we have to find any contradiction with both being true. For example, if P of x is odd and Q of x is this, x is even. If you consider both as true, x can't be odd and even at the same time. So this is a contradiction. Okay, we will find some contradiction in the given equation, and then we will consider P conditional Q is false. Okay, so let us see by an example. See, this is the statement, the sum of two odd integers is an odd integer. See, we have to disprove this, because take any two odd integer, you will get even integer only. Okay, so this is a false statement, you have to disprove it. First to disprove, you will consider both as true. Sum of two odd integers means a and b, this is odd integer and the sum is odd integer. Okay, now what we will do, we will add this manually, 2k plus 1 plus 2k plus 1, that will give us 2k 2 into k1 plus k2 plus 1. Okay, adding manually we will get this. So this is an even integer, this can be considered as k dash, so 2k dash is an even integer, a plus b is an even integer, but we assumed here that a plus b is an odd integer. That is a contradiction, right? So we can conclude that P conditional Q is false. Okay, now the last method of disproving is by counter example. This is the same as proof by existence. You have to just disprove by one example. So suppose the question is, the sum of the squares of any 4 non-zero integers is an even integer. So you have to take any 4 non-zero integers and then you have to add it, and that should be odd integer in order to disprove it. So we will take 4 numbers, which is, we will take a, b and c as 1 and d as 2. When you will square it and add, you will get 7, which is not even. So we can conclude that this is disproved by an example.